Joining me now is Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff of Georgia. He's a member of the Senate Appropriations and Intelligence Committees. He's also the only Democratic senator running for re-election in 2026 in a state that Trump won in 2024. No pressure. Senator, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to start. Sometimes there's so many things going on in a given day, it feels like whack-a-mole, but it's still important to talk about what is not normal. You have been in your fair share of hearings. You have questioned cabinet members in your fair share of hearings. I just started in the show talking about how there was a lot of non-answers, resistance to answering, lack of information. What did you make of today's hearings and the approach by the Trump administration to them?
Well, they're not only lacking candor when they engage with Congress, they're lacking candor when they engage with the courts. And I have found an extraordinary level of stonewalling. Basic information that I've sought from the administration has been denied. They clearly have no commitment to transparency. And it's deeply distressing when we're trying to do our jobs, conducting oversight, investigating wrongdoing on behalf of the American people, and there's such open contempt for the United States Congress.
And the American people, I'd add. You see protests and resistance to all of this across the country. Corruption is an ongoing story. You've been talking about this a fair amount. In your past life, I know you oversaw or ran an investigative journalism, a company that did investigative journalism into corruption. And today, House Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about any concerns he may have about Trump and his family's financial ties to a number of countries he's now visiting, which I think to most of us is pretty startling. I want to play what he said today and get your thoughts on it.
You were very critical of President Biden and his family's foreign business dealings. You supported an impeachment inquiry as a result of it. Are you equally concerned about President Trump's family's business dealings, especially given the fact that he is in a region now where his family has billions of dollars of investments in Doha and Saudi Arabia, and the fact that he has a crypto business now where he's auctioned off access to the White House for the highest bidder in his meme coin?
Look, there are authorities that police executive branch ethics rules. I'm not an expert in that. My expertise is here in the House, okay? I will say that the reason many people refer to the Bidens as the Biden crime family is because they were doing all this stuff behind curtains. Whatever President Trump is doing is out in the open. They're not.
He seems to be going to great pains not to call out things that are obviously corrupt. But what did you make of?
Of course, because they're all living in fear of retaliation from the White House. But we do have to just step back and acknowledge that the depth of corruption and self-dealing and self-enrichment by the Trump family during this term is something that we have never, ever seen in the United States. At no point in our republic have we seen anything like this. I mean, you had Jared Kushner took billions of dollars from the Saudis. You've got the president's family going out ahead of his official visits doing business across the region. You've got the meme coin, where foreigners are directly enriching the president and his family and his businesses. And some of them are being quite open. Some of the folks buying this coin are being quite open that they're doing it in order to curry favor or to gain influence. And the president is selling private dinners and White House tours to people who invest in his family businesses, not to mention the airplane, which is maybe the most extraordinary single obvious constitutional violation in presidential history. It is really mind-blowing. And for the Speaker to say that, when it is the explicit role of the United States Congress to investigate and oversee misconduct by the executive branch, when we have all sworn an oath to that Constitution, which defines that separation of powers and that role for the United States Congress, demonstrates that there is no red line, there is no new depth that this administration can plumb that will get these folks to give a damn. They're absolutely committed to defending and covering up for this president and this administration, no matter what.
You also sit on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and there's a lot going on that I don't think always gets enough attention. I mean, because last week we saw a declassified memo from U.S. intelligence that directly contradicted the Trump administration's reasoning for invoking the Alien Enemies Act in order to, of course, deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. And then today, we learned that Trump's DNI chief fired the leaders of the intelligence group that wrote that assessment. What do you make of punishing officials like that and all of that behavior?
And by the way, leaked the alleged justification for the firing to Fox News, but did not notify the intelligence committees in the House or Senate, where they have a statutory obligation to notify us. You know, and this raises the obvious concern that senior intelligence analysts may face retaliation for issuing good faith analysis. That's their job, to call balls and strikes, to take the available intelligence that's been collected and render the very best, most objective analysis possible, that they may face retaliation where their analysis, their findings are not helpful to the administration's policy objectives, or perhaps reveal false statements that the administration has made in court. And if that is what's happening here, and there's a lot of reason to suspect it is, that chills intelligence analysis throughout the entire intelligence community, which then deprives policymakers of access to accurate information. That's how mistakes are made. That's how our country can make serious geopolitical and national security mistakes, when the intelligence products we're receiving are not down the middle, but instead crafted to curry favor with the administration. And last thing I'd say on this is Tulsi Gabbard, when she came before us testifying to take the job as Director of National Intelligence, her whole thing was depoliticizing the intelligence community. And if she's done this to punish analysis that she or the president didn't like, well, you can rest assured that we on the intelligence community are going to put very tough questions to her under oath about this.
Well, I look forward to seeing you do exactly that. There are a lot of good ones to ask. I have to ask you about your race, of course, before I let you go. You've, of course, run close races before during the Trump administration. You've won. You're doing a lot of fundraising. You've raised a lot of money. You're doing a lot of organizing. What is different this time? What are you hearing from voters in terms of what is exciting them, angering them, and what are you seeing on the ground?
Well, the more it becomes clear to the people of Georgia exactly what this legislative agenda is, where half of all births in my state are covered by Medicaid, 70% of seniors in nursing homes in Georgia are covered by Medicaid, 40% of all kids are covered by Medicaid, the more deeply unpopular it becomes. And so there is tremendous anger and fear, not just among Democrats, but also among independents and Republicans across the state, that this is the agenda. Well, we've already lost so many hospitals in recent years. So many are struggling with their health. But I will be the #1 target for MAGA and national Republicans because, as you mentioned, I'm the only Democrat running in a state that Donald Trump won. They will probably spend something like $500 million to try to defeat me. And so since you brought it up, I'd be remiss if I didn't remind your viewers that if they want to support my efforts in Georgia and help power us to a landslide victory in 2026, they can do that at electjon.com or electjon.com.
That was very smooth. We covered a lot of things. Senator Jon Ossoff, thank you so much for joining me. Really
a pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank you for having me.